Rustin, you go ahead because yours be pretty quick.
So I subscribe to the age old adage, you've got to, if you want to be the man, you got to beat the man. And I think there's two things that play in Georgia's favor. Number one, they're just really, really good. They have a lot of depth. They've done a great job stockpiling talent. They've got a wealth of weapons at the running back position. They've got a couple of capable quarterbacks who will do a good job keeping them in games. Their defense speaks for itself, and their schedule is an absolute cupcake. So
Bingo.
I think November 18th is the pretty much the only tough game on their entire schedule in Knoxville. But again, until you beat them, they're the man. And so I have them going 12-0. I have them winning the SEC championship. And I don't see anyone beating them. I think Tennessee has the by far greatest chance of beating them, but the rest of their schedule is an absolute joke.
That's a pretty fair assessment. So I have them going 11-1 and 7-1 in the SEC because this is the year, baby. I don't know, man. Sometimes you just get that feeling. You just get that feeling that it could be happening. And I think Tennessee pulls off the upset in Neyland in late November. My goodness, that place will be rocking that game. And just like Doug said, that game is going to be the determining factor of who goes to Atlanta. Like that is going to be the game. You know, years ago in the mid 90s and even in the early 2000s, Tennessee, Florida, that game was the deciding factor of who's going to Atlanta this year. Well, this year it is Tennessee, Georgia. And whoever, just like it was last year, and whoever wins that game, they'll be in Atlanta. And so I think this is it. I think this is the year. So I got Georgia going 11-1, 7-1 in the SEC. Let's see. Zach said he has them going 1-11 with the one win coming to Florida. Zach asked, even with Mike Bobo, you think they go 12-0 even with Mike Bobo?
I think he's got a lot to prove. I think he's got to show people that he's willing to be as open as the past has been. I will say this though, and I'll go back to what I said about a month ago. I don't want to beat Georgia. I want to be 11-1 because that's November 18th. If that game was still in early October, by all means, let's go beat them. But for some reason, my microphone stopped. I don't want to beat them November 18th. I want to play them well, play them tight, get to the next week and go wax Vanderbilt, and then get a week off and be the 11-1 team as the probably 3 seed and coast into the college football playoff because we did not have to play Alabama or LSU in an extra game. Even if you go 12-0, I'm not sure you want to play that extra game. There's nothing positive that can come out of that. It's, if you win it, great. You win a meaningless SEC championship. But if you lose it, you could lose your way right out of the playoffs. And we know how the committee feels about Tennessee. So I don't think we want to leave it in the committee's hands. I would much rather let Georgia go 12-0, even 13-0. Go wax Alabama or LSU in the SEC championship. That'd be wonderful. And we'll rest up and be fully healthy for the playoffs.
Doug said, I'm with Evan, 11-1 with a loss to Tennessee and a back door into the playoff. See, Doug knows. Like he's saying, if Georgia loses to Tennessee, then that puts Georgia in the playoff because, they'll have one loss. They'll be the number one ranked team all season long.
Yep.
Like that's not going to change. They'll be number one all the way up until November 18th. And then depending on what happens that day, they'll either stay number one, or if they lose to Tennessee, they'll drop to like 3 or 4. But they will be in the playoff no matter what. And so you got to be feeling good if you're a Georgia fan, because you're going to be in the playoffs this year. Like that's the way it is. You're either going to run the table or you're going to lose one game and get in. The only scenario that could potentially prevent Georgia from getting into the playoff, the only scenario is if Tennessee beats Alabama and then Tennessee beats Georgia and then Alabama beats Tennessee in the SEC championship game.
Mm-hmm.
If that were to happen, that could potentially knock Georgia out of the playoff. And so it'll be very interesting to see how that shakes out. It's going to be fascinating. It will be absolutely fascinating. Zach said if we beat Georgia, we're going to need another goalpost. I totally agree with that. Absolutely. Totally agree with that.